Alright, what I'm looking at here is ways of kind of getting to grips with odd groupings. Now, I went over these a little bit in my Eric Johnson video, but I feel I could have done a bit more to give you kind of tools and techniques to help internalize these odd rhythms, the odd meters. I'm going to put a click on so you can really hear how the groups of 5 or groups of 7s interact with a kind of regular 4/4 pulse. All these examples will be in A minor. I'll put some links to backing tracks up there if you're interested in having something to play along with. So I'll just go through a few examples. The tab will be in the video as always, and I'll pop some up on my Instagram account as well. If you want to download that, the link will be in the description. So the first group is just your standard 4, right? Probably don't need to spend too much time on that because that's a meter you've probably already internalized. The next one's a bit tricky, so this is groups of 5, and any 5-syllable word, hippopotamus is the kind of common one, will really help kind of keep this in time. Because it's syncopated, it's a bit difficult to get to grips with, so I'll play it a couple of times and see if you can kind of join in. Okay, next one to look at is groups of 6. Again, this is a fairly straightforward one that you've probably come across before. Again, not spending too much time on that one there. Next one is another tricky one, groups of 7. So happy hippopotamus is what I've suggested before, but any 7-syllable word will help you do this. And what I mean by that is you can actually say it while you're playing it. So you could go something like this. Happy hippopotamus, happy hippopotamus, happy hippopotamus, happy hippopotamus. Okay, I'll do it without saying it and I'll just loop it around, so if you want to kind of join in. To wrap it up, I'll just do a quick example of a group of 8. Again, this is one you probably already know. And the next exercise, what I'm going to do is just combine them all. So rather than playing them isolated, I'm going to follow on one from the other. So I'd spend a bit of time just familiarising yourself with those rhythms and kind of internalising them a little bit before attempting this next one. So I'm just going to start off with 4, and then 5, and then 6, and 7, and 8, and just do it all together. So hopefully you can kind of see how the meters change. Another thing that's probably worthwhile pointing out here is you'll find with the 5 and the 7, if you just focus on the first beat of the bar, that's going to make life a lot easier to begin with, because all the other beats are really heavily syncopated to what you're playing, so it's going to put you off. And you'll find the 4, the 6 and the 8, you feel like it's a lot more locked in, and that's because you're playing on the pulse rather than against it. So you'll feel there the 5 and the 7 are really odd against the pulse. It almost feels like you're playing some sort of like triplet within a triplet type thing. The next thing to do is to take that example and play it the other way round. So I'll start with the 8 and then I'll go down to 7 to 6 to 5 to 4. What can really help is if you can think of a song with one of these rhythms in them. I'm pretty sure there's a Radiohead song that does that exact melody in 5. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but if I can, I'll put it in the edit. We've done lowest number to highest number and highest number to lowest number, but what we've not done is the full journey. So we can start off at the lowest, go to the highest, and then go back down to the lowest. Obviously after that, what you could do is go back to the start and just keep looping it on itself to really help get these rhythms together. It's a very difficult thing to grasp if you're new to it, and to be honest, the only real way is kind of perseverance with the metronome. But as I said, there's a few tricks you could do, so let's recap them. Saying a word with the right amount of syllables to help you play with it. You don't have to say it out loud, you can just think it. Initially just focusing on the first beat of the bar. As you get more used to these kind of odd groupings, you can start to kind of feel the pulse and kind of go with the syncopation a bit more, but to begin with, I'd really just focus on that initial one. Identifying any songs that have these groupings in or any solos that you might already know. And also attaching a melody in general to rhythms really helps kind of recall them. So that, the 5 one for example. If that was just a group of 5 notes, like, it's going to be a lot harder to kind of identify and get to terms with. The melodic contours give your kind of brain something else to latch onto, and it can kind of help with the accents a little bit as well. Cool, as always, I hope this has been useful for you guys. I'm planning to do a few more in this sort of series of odd groupings because it's quite an interesting thing. Well, at least I think it is. I think it's quite a cool thing to have. If you enjoyed the content and got something from the video, please do consider to share, like, comment and subscribe if you feel so inclined. Cheers guys.